apples, thus becoming the pineapple girl. Now, 4 years later, I'm standing still terrified between 600 seniors I've come to love and grow with unimaginably. This time, the fear stems not from having to impress an auditorium full of bored, hormonal teenagers, but rather from nervous excitement at life after high school. Before leaping into the future, I'd like to reminisce on these past 4 years. I had such difficulty writing this speech because I felt like it was impossible to capture our high school experience without reducing it to a 5-minute oration. But I'm going to try my best not to. Although a part of me is thrilled for what comes next, a bigger part is anguished at having to leave high school for the real world. High school for many of us consisted of unforgettable landmarks, being asked to a dance for the first time, taking our first APs, the frightful college admissions process this year, driving, and frantically shopping for the first time in my life for accessories the night before prom. Composing this speech, I felt the burden of having to sign 600 yearbooks all at once, each with painstaking detail and care, as I reflected on my innumerable memories with each of you that made high school so indescribably wonderful. There are endless stories to tell, myriad experiences I feel I should write down before they fade into gray and inevitably disappear from our memories. And even high school smells I never want to forget, like the stubborn scent of chicken and shrimp cup noodles in mine and every debater's hair after Tuesday and Thursday IT shifts.
Yeah!
In fact, one of my favorite things about high school was walking, or rather being carried down the congested halls and catching whiffs of trapped scents in the stagnant air. From the pungent, sweet perfume of girls, to the lovely, subtle smell of chlorine on every swimmer, to the not-so-pleasant stench of the occasional passing punk rocker, walking through the halls of high school was a consummate experience in every way. Every hello has its own personality, its own nuances and quirks. Each one made Keppel a little brighter, a little more cheery, even on the gloomiest of days. So much happens in these halls of Keppel. Gossip about our teachers, notorious exchanges of affection that make bystanders uncomfortable, artificial and natural stink bombs, and even blackouts. For these idiosyncrasies, outsiders often see Keppel as ghetto, but here the term is always used with affection and nostalgia. Even being the target of hundreds of hurled pennies freshman year was worth it, literally. That is, until we became the ones to throw them as seniors this year. Not that I participated in any way. Another less violent senior privilege was, for most of us, driving for the first time. And of course, getting our first tickets, or in my case, my first 8 tickets, hitting our first fire hydrants, totaling our first cars, writing our first debate speech about it, and losing horribly the next day. Or maybe that was just me. Nevertheless, we cherish these memories, these unforgettable firsts, because they are what make high school what it is, a time for experimenting and reckless driving. Another feature of high school, and Keppel in particular, I will never forget, are the people. By that, I'm referring to my seniors, the administrators, my teachers, and all the people of Keppel who made it the nurturing, albeit AB-crazed environment that it is. I'll never forget Miss Ling's crazy calculus air band, as pioneered by the one and only Miss Kimura, whom I had the pleasure of having as a summer school teacher 2 years ago. Of course, one can't mention Miss Kimura without referencing her infamous convoluted horse manure story, which attempts to answer the tough questions in life, like what one ought to do when locked in a room filled with horse manure. What else is there to do but dig for gold? I think, after much rumination, that she was trying to tell us to be that kid who is given a room full of horse manure and turns it into something productive and beautiful. Each one of you graduating seniors is that horse manure kid. And even though it comes out weird, I mean it in the sweetest, most sincere way. I look at you guys and I really see future Bob Marleys, Derek, our generation's Bernsteins and Woodwards, Jen and Willa, doctors and dentists too, Sarah. I see astronomers, teachers, Nobel laureates like Jackie Chen. And it's true that Keppel has bred and nurtured, in this graduating class, the world leaders of the coming generation. I see so much potential before me, and I hope you guys find a way of channeling it in college and in your lives beyond school, so that when I plan our high school reunion in 5 years, I'll be surrounded by the happy, powerful leaders and entrepreneurs I know you all are. Finally, I'd like to thank my family, my incredible teachers, and especially all my friends, all the seniors behind me, for your unconditional love and support. The memories we've shared will stay with me forever, from impromptu paper underwear sleepovers to DDR study sessions, to walking in on a friend in the girls' bathroom, to hundreds of hours of after-school detention for being late to debate. Thanks, you guys, for everything, for every laugh, every hug, every hello, and for this final goodbye. I realize now that this is the last time we're all going to be high school students together, and that I may never see you guys again, unless you visit me at Stanford as promised. Thanks for always believing in me unconditionally, even when I doubted myself. And I'd like to close in the words of my favorite retiring teacher, Mrs. Kubal. Class of 2007, the world is truly your oyster, and if you take the time to look, you'll find your pearl.